morning and welcome to Unity of Connersville. Today is a special Labor Day message. You know, a lot of people are experiencing overwhelming stress and burnout, especially with the shape of the world and the shape of the nation. But we are designed by God for rest. Even in the creation story, God created the world in 6 days, and we don't know if that meant 24 hours or not. And then there was a day of rest. It's the same thing for us. The body is meant to rest after a certain amount of periods of work. If we look at the lives of our own lives and the lives of other people, we're going to find out that everyone seems to be overworked. We have people working 2, 3 jobs trying to make ends meet. We have retired people taking care of their children's children. And over time, there are so many demands that life is placing on us that we end up feeling burned out. It's like we don't have any more to give. We feel drained and depleted. If we go back to when we were younger, we're going to find out that as we were growing up, graduating from high school, graduating from college, we couldn't wait for that first job. I couldn't wait for my first job because I thought I could fill the refrigerator with anything I wanted. That was something that I thought was really great. But people were looking forward to their first job. It was at that time a source of joy. And then something happened. We wanted to work more to acquire the things that we thought would bring us joy. And then we started working for rewards or awards and promotions. And pretty soon, work consumed every part of us. And then we discovered that we were just working. So there is no better place to talk about stress, the stress of work and the stress of life, than on Labor Day. Labor Day is actually meant for rest and renewal. That is the purpose of Labor Day, not just to honor the unions and the workers of America, but also to appreciate that rest and restoration. And to also reflect on the purpose of God in our lives. And God in our lives is meant for renewal, and meant for restoration, and meant to refresh us. Because the divine is always working through us in sacred and holy ways. Someone once said, this was recently, that they were not spiritual. But the bottom line is, we are all spiritual. Whether we acknowledge it, whether we want to accept it, we are spiritual beings living on this world, having a human experience. Stress, burnout, those are the 3 stages of burnout. These deplete our batteries. So I want to share with you the stages of burnout, which is first stress. First, we start experiencing and responding to the stress in our lives. We may sleep all night long, but yet wake up and we don't feel refreshed, but we don't know why. We may also develop negative attitudes, not just about work and our coworkers, but also about life in general. We end up looking in the mirror and thinking to ourselves, we're not as special as we once thought we were. And this carries over to every aspect of our life, our relationships. We might feel a loss of concern for others, and I don't care attitude. We may feel that we're being locked into the job routine, and we're experiencing this growing state of fatigue. We just don't have enough energy to go out and do some of the things that we want to do. Inside of ourselves, we have this anger and increased irritability. We have a loss of enthusiasm and zest for living. That 10-minute nap that we used to take after work now turns out to be a need for 2 hours worth of sleep. Even when we fall asleep at night, we toss and turn, getting up in the morning exhausted. Even choosing clothes for the day ends up being a major problem-solving situation. Physically, we might have persistent headaches, stomach aches, body aches, even skin disorders, rashes, pimples. There's a growing feeling of incompetence, fragmentation, and alienation. And we think that if we only pushed harder, if we only did more, then this cycle would break. We forgot about the rewards of work. The rewards of work used to be joy, but we don't even remember that that's why we're doing work anymore. And so we push harder, depleting any and all of the energy that we have. And this is just the stress stage. This isn't the burnout, official burnout yet. So at this stage, what we want to do is we want to ask for God's help. The next stage of burnout is called brownout. This is the time when we become silent. Even when our opinions are sought by others, we appear sullen and angry. We use all of our energy to resist the psychological and emotional overload. The feelings inside of us are overwhelming fear, but we do not know what we're afraid of. We have anxiety. We feel helpless. Many find that when they're in stage 2 of burnout, it's hard or impossible to ask for help. They don't want to admit to anyone that they are feeling this way. These feelings lead us to doubt, paranoia, and inadequacy. Giving the best of our work now seems like a joke. The original motives for entering our career can't even be remembered. They become very hazy and even questionable. In stage 2, we again want to get in touch with that divine, that spirit within us, and ask for some help. Stage 3 is full-out burnout. The energy to deal with the demands of a job and home life have been depleted. A person in this stage has great cynicism about their work, their career, and everything else about their lives. They experience alienation, withdrawal, and defeat. Have you ever heard of someone at work just getting up and leaving? Just quitting without notice? I've watched people do that. All of a sudden you come in and they're not there anymore. How about leaving a job or a good career? How about, this also happens in relationships with families too. Have you ever heard of someone who just gets up and leaves their relationship without warning? Stage 3, burnout, could possibly be the reason. The human body is like a battery. If we give and give and give, then we find we have no power left. We are like people being held underwater fighting for air. Or we feel like a cornered animal. We feel like we want to fight our way out. Reasoning does not come at this point in stage 3. The person is going to run as fast as they can to get out of what's causing them stress so that they can have their life again. When we're in this situation, when we're in the throes of burnout, how can we turn it around? What can we do? Stress, burnout, and brownout are preventable in the first place. How can we prevent this? The biggest cause of stress is resistance. When an event enters our life, we can choose how we want to respond to it. And I want to share a true story with you. This is a true story. A man and a woman were driving around on high mountain roads, talking and just having a good time relating to each other, when all of a sudden a curve was missed and the car plunged over a cliff. Now, when you're driving 55 miles an hour and you plunge over a cliff, your only thought is, this is the end. But not these two people. They prayed, and as they prayed, this huge peace came over them, and they decided that they might as well enjoy this experience. It was a great view from up here. So here they are, plummeting down this cliff in their car at hundreds of miles an hour, when all of a sudden a beaver dam breaks their fall. They land on this beaver dam. They look at each other. There's not a scratch on them. No windows are broken. The car's not damaged at all. So they start to laugh. But at the same time, they're also sinking because the beaver dam is sinking. So So they climb out of their car and they get on the roof and they're laughing and just like hugging each other and realizing what a miracle it is that their car wasn't damaged and that they weren't hurt. In the meantime, someone on this mountain road noticed the skid marks and looked down and saw the couple sitting on top of the hood of their car laughing with each other. So that person called the tow truck. The tow truck towed the car out of the beaver pond. No damage to the car, and it started immediately. The funny thing was, for all the local people, the most interesting thing is that no one ever remembers a beaver pond being in that area. So, one of the great ways to reduce stress is to flow with life. Here are some suggestions that you might want to try if you're encountering stress in your life. The first is to make a list of things that are stressing you out. For example, you want to take a piece of paper and fold it in half. This is hot dog. This is hamburger. You want to fold it in half like hot dog. On one side of the paper, you're going to write down all the things in your life that are causing you stress. On one side, you're going to make a list of all the things you can't change. On this side, you're going to make a list of all the things you can change. For example, if you look up at the sky and you say, I can't stand the moon. Well, that's something that you can't change. And so what has to happen with all those things on your list that you're not able to change, then what has to change is your attitude toward these things. And I invite you to make a contract with yourself. So at least once a month, you change something on the changeable side of your list. Of course, with God's help. And you know the Serenity Prayer. Help me, how's that go? I used to know the Serenity Prayer. I was thinking about it driving over here. Oh Lord, help me to realize what I can't change, the strength to change what I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Another way to reduce stress is physical exercise. This really is a wonderful way to reduce stress because it also causes endorphins in the body, and endorphins give us feelings of pleasure. So a great way to combat stress is exercise. Because, you know, you're going to feel, as you progress through the stages of burnout, you end up feeling like a caged animal. And that's when, by that point, it's really important to change. The other thing I would recommend that you do is take some, what I call me time, or some me actions. Give yourself permission to play. When we're adults, one of the things that we forget is to play. We have to take life so seriously, we have to make money, we have to do a job. But it's so important to pray. Even Jesus said that, to become like little children. That was mentioned in the daily words a day. Give yourself permission to do something like take yourself out to the movies once a week. Give yourself permission to play golf once a week, whatever it is that you like to do. And as part of this me action or me time, do something that you really want to do. A me action or a me act is not going to your sister's house to fix the window that you didn't have time to do before. A me action is to do something just for you, to do something that brings you joy. Another suggestion is to take God with you no matter where you go. I know that there are some people that do this. They set a watch to beep every hour. And when the watch beeps, they take a minute to just sit back, relax, and maybe say a prayer, maybe do a mantra, I am at peace, I am enjoying my job. Some deep breathing really does help to relax the body. The secret is really spiritual balance. Can we balance our lives? Another good way to relieve stress is journaling. to journal how we feel every evening, how our day went. Because once we begin to put those feelings and thoughts on paper, it's like the body becomes more relaxed. It's like that energy is released. So many of us want to put all our eggs in one basket, expecting to come out happy and healthy. But that's a dangerous way to think. We really have to have balance in our lives. Another suggestion is to increase prayer time, and I don't mean just saying rote prayers. What I mean by increasing your prayer time is actually quiet time in reflection, quiet time actually in meditation. Charles Fillmore, the co-founder of Unity, always said, we need to condition ourselves for a spiritual experience. We will have more spiritual experiences if we're prayed up. And so another way, the benefits of meditation have been scientifically proven to be so many, strengthening the immune system, clearing our thinking, releasing endorphins, helping us to be more joyful in life. So, prayer and meditation is the ultimate labor-saving device. I recommend that we give ourselves permission to continually tap in to these tools to help us overcome stress. Doing this will speed us out of the burnout, will release the stress, and will become that new person, made whole again in the image of God. The most misunderstood animal in the world is the ostrich. People think that an ostrich sticks its head in the ground to escape. An ostrich doesn't stick its head in the ground to escape. It's hearing. It has poor hearing. So what it does is stick its head in the ground to tune in to the vibrations of what's happening around them. That's why an ostrich sticks their head in the ground. So too with us. It's so important to go apart for a while, to pray, to meditate, to put our lives back in perspective, to feel the vibratory energy that's around us, to feel what renews us and what depletes us. And as we recharge ourselves using some of the tools that I have shared today, we will find out that we will be living a happy and fulfilling life. And I invite you now to prepare for meditation. Could we focus the camera? Turn the lights out. And as you're sitting there, preparing yourself for meditation, I invite you to gently close your eyes. And if any part of your body, your arms or your legs are crossed, I invite you to uncross them so that you are in an open and receptive position. Letting Spirit know that you are open and receptive to the living Spirit of truth. And I invite you to pay attention to your mind and see yourselves with a push broom just sweeping out any clutter, any negative thoughts or feelings. Just sweeping that out. Until your mind is completely empty. And I now invite you to take a scan of your body, noticing where in your body. You might be feeling some tension, perhaps your neck or shoulders, your lower back. And give that part of your body permission to relax. I invite you to just scan through your life and your relationships with families and friends and your relationship with work. And just make note if there is any situation or experience that might be stressing you out. Make note if there's more than one, with more than one person or more than one situation. And I invite you to take bring one of those situations to mind, or one of the people, and ask yourself, can anything be changed in this situation or with this person? Keeping in mind that it's really impossible to change someone else. All that we can really change is ourselves and how we respond to that situation. In this particular situation, is there something you can change about your response to the situation? Even if it's an attitude. I invite you to make a commitment to change that attitude now. I want to invite you to think about what kind of me action or me time you can take this week What is it that brings you joy, even if just for 5 minutes? Even if it's just sitting back and watching your favorite program on TV. I invite you to make a commitment to take some me time or do some me action this week and every week. Knowing that all is in divine order and that we can let go, and let God be God in us. And I invite you to gently open your eyes and come back to this time and place, knowing that this is the week stress will be released.